Cranking out. Here we are, Projects for Public Good. This is Creators Guild version 20. Welcome everyone. Right now, obviously got the overlay up and I got things scrolling here. I'd quickly just like to share out sort of a little countdown of the past shows that we've done as our guests arrive and we welcome them. Basically, yes, this is Creators Guild version 20. Over the past year, we have visited many themes of interest to our creative community within the Solana ecosystem. Basically, I don't know if we ever really intended to, just keep on going with this, but I love it, and here we are at version 20. I'm just going to go a quick little overview of the past 20 episodes, just so we can sort of see where we're at. We were going initially in parallel with Developers Guild. That's still going, but of course we've grown to have an AI guild, a product guild, and gosh, a whole bunch of others that are just constantly happening. So keep an eye out for that. They're all super valuable. They're happening every week. This is where we started in Nikita's kitchen, just sitting around, a bunch of creators from our Berlin community. And then we went to the metaverse. We had two shows in the metaverse. One was an art show, and the other one was focused on, there's our lovely sculptural installations, focused on the Bonk Art Masters program, which is going really strong. I don't know if anybody saw, I'm sure Bloody saw this banner that was on the stadium of the Borussia Dortmund, which is like a big, huge German football team. I know this is Creators Guild, so I don't expect anyone to be a sports expert. I am definitely not, but I tune in for every 2 years for Euro Cup and World Cup. But super cool to see that going. We had lovely talks with them. We then segued into Web3 security, safety, and scams, which we also need to revisit. This is a constant theme. I think if anybody's going to be spending time in the ecosystem, then they need to know about this stuff. So we were graced by Squad, Sledger, and Trev, who got scammed as well as me. So that was tons of fun. Music, we always have plenty of space for music. Always welcoming any musical personalities. Please send them our way. We've had so many good talks about music, and of course, art. Art has been one of our constant themes because we just have a lot of creative people in Creators Guild, obviously with a visual arts background. We segued into something that I won't go outright say it's marketing, but building lore and culture, which we really spent a nice little minute talking with Jules, aka the DJ Cat, who's one of our beloved members of our community, basically about storytelling when it comes to something like, yes, I would say sharing your project in this way that's really meaningful and consistent, and all the things you can do to communicate it well. So we had a great talk with her. Lovely talk with writers. We had Tony from Metaplex, Joseph from D-Reader, RIP D-Reader. I really enjoyed that project. It was a comics platform. And then we had two special guests who specialized in communicating and writing from Superteam Nigeria. Just FYI, if there are creatives, and I know there are creatives, of course, from all the super teams around the world, I would love to have more of these folks up in our spaces, because I think it's great to have as many different perspectives as we can. And why Web3 Art, another art show talking about why Web3 art, which is one of the essential questions that we've been also trying to answer the whole time. Musicians, this is our second musicians show. It focused on platforms and, of course, musicians who use those platforms. And the wonderful wizard Raheem, Mimi, of course, Bobby Star, local DJ, and Lucas, local musician. And animation tools, this was centered around the Seoul Animation Fest. I certainly hope to see these guys come back, Trev and Steve, Ghosty, awesome show. Art collecting and process, this was just geeking out once again on art. Here we are IRL, because we meet up, like, actually, if you're in Berlin, Fridays we have co-working, Fridays with Superteam Germany. Show up, hang out. Oh yes, Bloody is yes, I see Bloody is presenting us with a visual. Thank you, sir. Lovely faces. Sometimes honestly there are like 2 or 3 of us. Other times there are 21 of us. You would just never know. It's not like a very official thing, but this is one of my favorites because it has 2 dogs. if you can find the dogs, they're right there chilling. And then we pivoted for a moment to focus on artist fire relief resources. We have friends in LA. LA is the sister city of Berlin, so we were able to just bring up some of the projects who are actually raising relief resources for the artist victims, specifically in Los Angeles during the really devastating time period. It was terrible. This was a really tough episode. NFT Paris takeaways. Loved NFT Paris. Definitely would go again. Got to meet Duke. Great. They just did an awesome project with a whole bunch of different partners down in Dusseldorf. I want to see more of that. It was with a partnership with a car company, electric car company. But we'll have to share that out on another date. Career opportunities. We always have tons of career opportunities. Musicians. Ohad and Watan, these guys are awesome, local musicians. They are doing tons of stuff on Drip, super helpful, super knowledgeable. Creators and hackathons, we got to talk to Zoe, Crypto Girls Club founder, Tomukas, total genius, we love that guy. And of course, Stanley again, about all the things that creatives can do in hackathons. And here we are, projects for public good. I'd like to welcome all of our guests today. Legend, thank you so much for coming in last minute. Welcome from wherever you are in the world. We last crossed paths in Athens at Athens DAO, where you did a wonderful presentation on everything that everyone should know about realms. And I'm totally going to be picking your brain about that here and now today. Bloody, are you out there? Home 3, Bloody? Hello. Welcome back, Bloody. And of course, Arikia, who we are always privileged to be around here in Berlin, and her wonderful presence and her wonderful project. I think looking through this list, this compilation, best of creators guilds that I just went through, obviously we have our essential core in creative works, but then again, a lot of us are writers, communicators. Communication is at the core of creation, I feel. So I think when it comes to important topics that are maybe not necessarily covered or have some overlap with different guilds, especially within our circles, I think there's always space in Creators Guild for important subjects such as public good. And when things like public good came to mind, things like quality of information came to mind, and things like direct democracy, or simply not only having the wonderful creative tools that Web3 has offered to creatives, but also having a way in which you can sanely sort of navigate these things without driving yourself nuts. And I think all three of these projects are some overlap of this Venn diagram of wonderful things that people, creatives, and obviously the developers that make all of this possible, and the communicators that tell us why we should be using these things are all coming together. So welcome everybody. Everybody's mic's working. We good to go? Thumbs up.
I think mine is working, right?
Wonderful. Yes. Welcome, Legend. Welcome. How are you?
Doing well. So far, so good. That's what I always say. And I'm very happy to be last minute in the project for public good. I'm here to explain what Realms is. If you guys don't know what Realms is, and how creators maybe and creators guilds. So like in the end of the day, it's we're talking about guilds and creators in this sense. And let's see how creators can come to Realms in a way. So that's also we are here to discuss. Let's see if we align as well.
For sure. Arikia, I'll just go down in the order of how this whole thing has laid itself out here. But Arikia, welcome, and CTRL-X. I've greatly enjoyed watching CTRL-X evolve, and especially coming from where you come from journalism and technology and decades of that. But I never want to be the one to introduce people and their projects. So welcome to Creators Guilds, and yeah, super excited to hear any new developments that you might have, and also, of course, the Decentralized Media Summit that you're going to be participating. I'm also going to be probably throwing out a few things regarding Berlin Blockchain Week. Bloody is going to be my backup because I know I'm going to forget something, as he always is. But yeah, welcome, Arikia, and how are you?
Thanks. I'm getting so excited for Berlin Blockchain Week. It's the most wonderful time of the year, better than Christmas.
I completely missed it last year, so I'm totally curious to see how it's turning out. And there are, for anybody who is not in town, there are an unbelievable amount of things going on between June 8th and June 22nd here in Berlin. It's insane. So yeah, I'm going to be triple checking my schedule to make sure I'm not at the wrong place at the wrong time. And Sir David Bloody, Building Home 3, hello, welcome back. We've had you up a few times, but here you are with your own project that is of public good, as it essentially makes it easier for creatives to engage with the tools of the Solana ecosystem. Just to put it simply, but I don't, like I said, you can, of course, describe your project better than I can. Oh, I gotta wave at him. Uh-oh. I think we gotta unmute. Working on it. All right, Bloody's gonna get his mic going. I think the mic is muted, sir. Got it? He's working on it. Okay, I'll give him a little second. And anyhow, so here we are. Bloody will be right back. Yeah, maybe. But we'll be right back. Peers Guild projects for public good. I would love to give everybody the chance to just give us a nice in their own words little summary of and fully recognizing that these are all very different projects and they're all in very different stages of development, which actually I think is kind of a nice spectrum as well, because of course things start as an idea and go from there. But basically, Legend, you are a core contributor to Realms. If you could tell somebody who has no idea what Realms or even a DAO is, and then sort of give us a little brief overview of the history of your involvement as you see fit, that'd be wonderful.
Sure, I will try to, because everybody has their own way of saying what's a DAO, what's governance. I'll try my best to say it my way. I think the easiest way to explain, let's say, it's a university guild, not guild but club, where everybody has their role as a treasurer, as a president, vice president, and everybody has their role within this group club. And in a Web3 way to say it is a DAO, like a decentralized autonomous organization. So decentralized, it's like it's in a blockchain. Autonomous, it's operated by smart contracts. And the organization, as I said before, it's a club. So that's my way, very easy way to say what's a DAO. It's basically, let's say, it's a Web2 university club with certain roles. Now, going back to what Realms, Realm for people who don't know what Realms is a no-code free builder of DAOs, so everybody can make these clubs on chain. And what can you do with these clubs on chain? So by bringing your clubs on chain, you can make proposals. You can create proposals on chain. Everything is executed on chain. If your club has, for example, a treasury, you can have a treasurer, and you can manage your club finances through on-chain swaps. Let's say you have a DeFi. That's where this is where the DAOs and clubs really expand outside of traditional world, right? So if you have, for example, if you have a club in the university where you use your money, right? The treasurer, let's go buy some pencils and some pens, some paper. Where in the DeFi world, Web3 world, these DAOs, they use the money to finance their operations. Let's say you can use You can deposit 10K into lend into this DeFi protocol. So it's a little more expanded way of what's a traditional club, and it kind of expands the possibilities of what can you do with a club like these communities. In the way, in general, this club is very small, but if you expand, if you scale it, it's a community, right? Let's say if Superteam Germany is its own community, and if of course they have their own treasury, and the way you use it online, Web3 ways, you try to interact with this DeFi project as much as possible. And besides that, DAOs can have their own plugins and their own user interface. So in the traditional way, these clubs operate in paper, and Realms offers this user UI for people to do it, via Web3 way, where instead of using a password and login, you use a wallet. And I hope I was very, easy to explain what a DAO is and what Realms is. But we can, as we progress we can discuss more.
For sure. Thank you very much. That was super clear and concise, and I feel like I understand it better now, actually, even though I've read these things over and over again. Arikia, what should the world know about CTRL-X? Where did it come from? What is it? Why does it exist? Why are you doing it? Tell us what's up with CTRL-X.
Well, CTRL-X came out of the pain of my creative labor in my years working as a journalist. And, there are a lot of different types of journalism. I've worked in ones that are particularly oriented toward the more public service side rather than, let's say, like the entertainment side. So I spent some time as a disaster correspondent, reporting out of an earthquake zone and doing science journalism in order to increase public comprehension of what's going on in the world. And there are a set of problems that keep coming up for journalists since the transition from print to digital, and probably a good deal before too. But the business models of the industry have been broken for quite some time, which has led to this sort of resource scarcity of working journalists, which then translates into journalists not being able to work and do their jobs and get information to the public that they need to make decisions about how to participate in a democracy. And so I found very early on, because I have a background in engineering, that a lot of this is due to infrastructure problems. And so what CTRL-X does is it utilizes blockchain technology to sort of transition the whole process of digital publishing from these centralized Web2 systems into a Web3 ecosystem where there is distributed ownership of journalistic assets, where creators can really and truly own their own articles rather than publications or platforms, which are the two primary options, and that they can access new monetization pathways through the peer-to-peer payment systems that blockchain enables. So just by introducing a new business model into the mix, we're already well on our way to solving some of the problems that journalists are facing, like monetization and distribution. And so we're still pretty early stage, and I'm hoping to, by the end of the year, have 100 users really using CTRL-X to their benefit in order to make more money from the content that they are producing, but that they have produced in the past. So decentralized archive storage is a big piece of this puzzle. And then when this is really functioning, we can start to kind of move the timeline back away from the direction that it's heading, which is like memory holing, link rot. When people look back 10, 50 years from now, no one's going to be able to make sense of what happened because our documentation will not persist into the future if we keep going and building and capturing our knowledge on these fragile platforms of today. So happy to answer more questions about that.
Yes.
That was a good explanation to start.
It's just like the tip of the iceberg. I think every time I hear you talk about this project, I'm just like, wow. Even a word like I have not heard the word link rot yet. But I think we should replace brain rot with link rot. Link rot being very very important. Brain rot being like something we completely avoid. But yeah, thank you so much for giving us the overview of a really important project. And Bloody, are you there, sir? Is your mic on? Is he there? Hold on a second. Uh-oh, wait a second. All right, I'm gonna try to get Bloody here. Did he rejoin? Okay, here he is. Okay, he's back. He's back, and I'm adding him to the stage, and I'm sure his microphone is working now.
Let's hope. So, can you hear me fine?
Yes, I can.
Okay, great.
Home free.
Yeah, no,
Home free. What is it?
Honored to be here. Hopefully, we are building a modular website builder for Solana native creators specifically. And because we do see a lack of creator tooling, 1 year after the possibility to mint editions or to sell editions on multiple marketplaces at the same time on Solana, we introduced that with MIP7 a year ago. There's still no creator tooling out there that would allow creators to have their own website be one of those marketplaces where pieces are listed in parallel on. And so escortless NFT sales are one feature of our that we start with, but also token gated content and Blinks integration are maybe even the more powerful features there, because NFTs are dead, we all know that, but token gated content and Blinks integration are pretty powerful tools to have at your disposal when you want to build your own website. And that's just something that's not out there yet, and that's a gap that we want to close and that we think should exist as public good and open source, because we don't want to build yet another platform that people could get rugged on. We want to incentivize and to give people an easy time to build the one place that they are the least likely to get rugged on, their own website under their own domain and control. And that's where our thinking about going the public goods route is coming from. And we think a lot of ecosystem players should have a viable interest in this existing and potentially chipping in to make it happen. So we are very much in the process of getting funding for the project, and started at Berlin Build Station. That's why I waved the sign here so proudly before. Born at Berlin Build Station, but has been on my mind for a minute. And so I'm very excited to be in the process of making it happen. It's not a smooth ride by any means, but we have secured a little Instagram from Superteam Germany to work off of. But we're very much in the process of reaching out to additional partners. Funnily enough, I was talking to Legend in Istanbul at Crossroads in person about this. And we basically got invited by Chris to apply for an Island DAO grant because it would fit in so perfectly. And I just today reached out to him and asked if there's still even anything left in the Island DAO grants to tap into. So happy to hear more about that from Legend as well. And was very pleasantly surprised to see him be part of the panel. Again, honored to be here and be talking about public goods. I think it's an important discussion to have and love to be part of it.
Absolutely. Thank you, sir. I'm noticing like a fair amount of crossover in terms of everything everyone has just sort of brought up in terms of where their projects are coming from, the kinds of needs that they are addressing, and also, of course, like I think the distributed ownership or direct ownership or Bloody's always more technical than I am when it comes to certain things, but even just the fact of the things that we don't necessarily see immediately, like this issue with being able to sell your own art on your own website, even though it's also on other platforms as well. I think in terms of like I mentioned, the three sort of projects are at three various stages, and please correct me if I'm wrong, but Legend, you and Realms have been going for a few years now. I don't know exactly how long you've been going, but I would say you've got a couple years under your belt, and you've been sort of building for a while and adding and also making these I'd say like the complexity of Web3, and this is across all, I think, all projects, the complexity of Web3 usable for, I don't want to say the average user, but I would say the average Web3 familiar user. What are some of the sort of challenges that you were facing in the early stages of getting things going, getting it up off the ground, and sort of even just steering your own governance and decision making in terms of shaping this project?
So let's start from the beginning, which, I was not, so Realms was developed by Solana Labs in 2021, if I'm not wrong. And I just joined last year, so I might not know that much. But it was last year that Solana Labs gave reins to a team to start leading Realms in a new path. And I hope to bring some alpha to these, let's say, spaces now, because Realms, as it's using very, let's say, legacy, outdated UI, and that's one of the most biggest challenge we went so far, is that for your average Web3 enthusiast, is having too much decentralization. Your platform could be an issue, actually, which means not everybody is like a power user, and that's one of the biggest challenges we had so far. And the alpha that I mentioned before is that Realms is now coming with a new version of the new UI, and we are hope to bring more adoption, for the DAOs in general. So everybody, if your grandma or your friend, could be 10 years old, it's we hope to be accessible and easy to use for everybody. And I think UI UX has been one of the major challenges, and we are hope to improve it now with this new version. And in general, I think the biggest tap into communities we can get is from Bonk, which is our biggest DAO in terms of users, alongside PIF. So Bonk and PIF have the biggest user base on Realms, and we can increase user base and user activity. It means you're doing a good job. So that's what we hope to achieve. Easier UI UX for everybody who wants to hop on Web3 and start exploring communities. I think Web3 and Realms, if you're looking for communities to tap into, if you like governance, if you like decision making, if you like treasury management, I hope Realms could be a good place for you to find your club. So that's one of the biggest challenge and the biggest dreams for us as well.
So Arikia and Bloody, Arikia, I've gotten a peek at your tech stack, and user interface, or I think often cited as one of the things that gets people to use something and keeps them there. And it's kind of like everything in terms of bridging the gap between the technology and the day-to-day of making it something that people are going to use. I would imagine you've gone through many phases with getting to the point where the idea and the tech are usable and it's coming together. But how does it look with UI in terms of where you're at with the importance of getting that off the ground for CTRL-X?
Yeah, that's a huge piece of the puzzle, and it's one of the reasons that it's taken so long from when I initially conceptualized CTRL-X in 2015 until I actually dug in and started building about a year ago, because I really felt like the user interface of the whole blockchain industry developed so slowly, it just wasn't there, and that if I was struggling to kind of find my way around doing anything, then my users wouldn't have a chance, because I've always been kind of in that top 1% of techie journalists willing to try all the new digital publishing tools and gadgets and kind of lay the pathway, build the road for the others to then walk along in order to do their real task, which is journalism. Because journalists, they're so laser focused on their work, and a lot of them have really niche subject matters that if there's another, like they would rather use a 10 years outdated CMS than take, you know, however long it would take just to get over that initial learning curve to incorporate new tools into their systems. And of course that's changing, and there are a lot of like really technical journalists too. But I mean, even the way they teach, you know, like in school, English and literature and arts and like math science over here, it's typically a split. And so I needed to really like dive in and see for myself and be able to design an environment that I know would be accessible to the users that are that I believe deserve a chance to have access to technological resources that will enable them to get their content out into the light of day. Because what's happening now is that even like, let's talk about the best Web 2 user interfaces out there, like the shiniest, glossiest publications. They often have the highest paywalls. And so we're moving into this situation where the divide is growing greater and greater between people who can access the quality content that they want, that they're seeking, and people who can't afford to access the type of journalistic material that is relevant to them, that helps them make decisions about how to live their lives, or just to stay informed in the way that they want to. And what's happening as a result is that now, because like anyone can pop up a WordPress site or whatever on Web 2, propaganda organizations have figured out that they can just make a website that looks like the leading newspaper of a small town and just change a word in it so that it's like the Tri-County Courier instead of the Tri-County Citizen. And then some people can't even tell the difference, and they don't even know that what they're reading isn't actually a journalistic operation, because there's plenty of funding for propaganda in the world. That's not what the struggle is. And so that's becoming like what content is freely available. And so it definitely is just like a huge factor of consideration, and to be able to invest resources into the development of the user interface, in addition to building out the kind of more blockchain native functionalities that enable this technology to solve these problems.
No, for sure. I'm amazed when user interfaces, when they work well, it's almost like one of those things that nobody notices. But you know, when they don't work or they're clunky, like you're saying, some ancient dinosaur CMS, that if you've ever had a job where a big company uses this thing that looks like it was made in 1995, maybe was made in 1995, then you know what Arikia is talking about. But yeah, I mean, it's obviously change is hard, and once everything's set in motion, then yeah, it's often hard to steer that ship away from the clunky stuff into the beautiful user experiences. But Bloody, you and your team have gone from 0 to something in the last short period of time. How did you get there in terms of user interface, if I can ask? And
Oh, well,
yeah.
I was blessed with having a user UX UI designer join the team. Natalia was a pleasure to work with, and actually got us to a really to a Figma state that I feel really good about. But yeah, no, UX UI couldn't be more central to the challenges ahead of us. As at every nook and cranny along the way with a website builder, we are at the constant struggle between providing customization options and flexibility versus keeping the interface as insanely easy as possible. And really, our product, to my mind, dies and lives by providing a great user experience and user interface. People are also just blessed on Solana with products. We only know the products because only those were the ones that succeeded, that provide a great user experience and great user interface. And so people have very little tolerance for anything that looks shitty or lacks attention to detail. And so that will certainly be something that adds to our product development timeline, and will be his constant point of friction in the product decisions to be made. Just how much flexibility do we want to provide, and how do we keep the interface as insanely easy to use as possible at the same time, and at the same time not just solving this puzzle for the Solana creator side, right? Or one-liner as a modular website builder for Solana native creators, but you shouldn't need to be a Solana native to use the resulting websites, right? So in an ideal vision of our product, we would solve that end of the puzzle as well and provide a wrapper for all that, links for all kinds of links, with a credit card payment option for the user on the other hand, because that's the ideal user experience, right? Where you don't have to know anything about blockchain to actually interact with the shit that the creator wants you to interact with on the site. You just should just be able to come with a credit card, or if in doubt, the Gmail address. And solving that end of the puzzle, but that by Mika's standard, as far as I understand, would put us potentially into the money transmitter point of camp, where for all I know, I don't want to be if I don't absolutely have to. So, lots of things to figure out there on the compliance and side, but that would be an ideal world to build for creators, and where it would really make things shine and become vastly powerful for a lot of use cases.
I heard that word Mika standard again, and I think that's maybe you all would agree, but I think we've watched a few projects over the years that have really hit some walls when it comes to legal things, just in the way they're set up, the way they're built. So I think that's always I'm always like, oh, please.
It's definitely something to be mindful about. Then again, I was talking to someone at the Bitcoin Pizza Day lately, and she was working in legal, and she even advised me to say, worry about that once you have an MVP, prove more product market fit first, and then you may be able to get the money or the funding to solve those problems with, if it's not a fatal flaw in the way your business is set up. But yeah, it's important to be aware, but it's also important to be fine with not having all of the answers while you get an MVP built to prove product market fit with to begin with.
Interesting. I guess when it comes in terms of public good, I guess when I think of the amount of users in Web3, I don't want to venture out a number. I'm going to say it's a minimal percentage, but the projects that are speaking here today have sort of the potential to bring public good through their essence. And yeah, obviously, like something like getting users to the starting point without too much friction. I'm guessing this has been a challenge, or at least something that you've had in your sights when you're building these projects and when you're making choices along the way. One thing that came to mind, of course, and I think maybe this is a crossover between Bloody and Legend or Realms itself, is something like a no code building option. Is that true? Both of you have gone the route of no code building options, and I think that's a great choice. But if you want to say anything beyond simply no code building option, or any of the, I would say, little hurdles you came along, and of course Arikia too, I'm sure that there are many hoops, but yeah, if anybody wants to speak on getting bridging that gap, this is always a theme, bridging that gap between the world and Web3, or the having these things under the hood, these tools under the hood, and actually getting users to not even know they're using them, which I think sometimes is the goal. But yeah, if anybody wants to speak on that, I'd love to hear your experience.
I mean, I can give my opinion on it at least, and I mean, you're right. The whole point. I think I think this is even more important for CTRL-X in terms of journalism, where in a way, I think everybody had this experience where we talk with people, your friends, your family, and you're dabbling into Web3 world, crypto world. Everybody goes, everybody's betting their eye, like, don't do this, these are scams, etc., etc. And now we are talking about making the users not be aware of the tools they're using, they're using on the foundation of the crypto world. And I think that's the best UX UI you probably have it. Being no code tools and whatever you offer for your users is. If your users don't know if they're using crypto technology or blockchain technology on top of you, I mean, you kind of already achieved your dream. From there, it's just improve it and do your best. And one of the problems is always that Web3 connector, which everybody knows, the Solana, not Solana, but wallet connectors. Where your identity is tied to an on-chain address. And there's now a lot of tools that kind of rebranded in a way. There's some tools called I think it's Third Web or Privy. You might have seen Privy in some protocols, where it gives the user the option now not to use only this connector wallet. Now you can use like a Gmail account to create this Web3 identity. You can use your phone number. You can use there's a lot of tools. And I mean, that's my kind of opinion of it. If you can make a project work on blockchain technology, and if your users are not aware of it, then you might do better than people who announce it. It's not definitely the case, but it's one of important feature. At least I can agree on at least.
It's maybe a bit ironic to be emphasizing the strengths of blockchain while also trying to just sort of keep it under the hood and having that be nice and smooth. I don't know, Arikia, I think you've probably gone through a lot of phases with this over the years, and yeah, do you, anything stand out in your sort of journey with getting your project on chain?
Yeah, I mean, we definitely went through the account abstraction journey, looking into services like Privy and a couple others. And I'm still kind of torn. Like, we have it set up in our build so that it's easy for users to get into the system with just an email address if they don't have a Web3 wallet. But then one of the core aspects of the UI that I'm focusing on now with my amazing user experience designer, Miho, who is looking for other gigs if anyone needs an amazing UX designer. One of the things we're focusing on is basically how to incorporate educational aspects into the UI so that people understand how it's working, which I think is really important for CTRL-X specifically, because like Web2 CMSs already work, right? Like they do enough of what they do for people to still be using them. Otherwise, like nothing would get published. The problem isn't that they don't work. The problem is that because of the structures of the companies that create these platforms and the way that the infrastructure is built to cause single points of failure where people can lose all of their content in the blink of an eye, which has happened to me several times and thousands of people who I've managed. That part isn't clear from the user interfaces on Web 2. So that's why I think it's important to really show people and, through the act of kind of meta journalism, I guess, like writing about why we're thinking about this aspect of digital publishing, is to explain we are using blockchain here, and this is why it's beneficial for you. And also, here are some considerations that you might not have already known. Because, I mean, one of the big issues is like, and this is something that's kind of bothered me about a blockchain. Well, it's not just one, like blockchain companies that overlap with journalism and that have like gone into the CMS space, is that there's nothing that indicates like which parts are on the blockchain. Like, is your whole text on the blockchain? Is it because then it's there forever, right? It's the ledger. It just gets longer. It doesn't get changed. So it's important for journalists to understand who is able to then access their content if they're going to use a blockchain-based publishing system. So it's a consideration for sure, and one we're taking very seriously.
Which parts are on chain? What needs to be on chain? Yeah, using the essential, the most essential parts, or nothing more than you need, really, I guess. Bloody, you have anything to say about what should be on chain?
No, but I love for us to keep asking that question. What needs to be on chain, and to be somewhat pragmatic about that, much to the tune of how Solana grew up to begin with, but also finding ways to put more things on chain that should be there, and finding ways to do that that don't make for a worse user experience. And that's pretty hard, especially when it comes to file storage and stuff. It's hard to compete with a proper CDN still. We for the website builder, even we'll have a hard time relying on decentralized storage exclusively there, and that to get us to a place where we can do the provide solutions for that, where more and more can be on chain because it should be, or would encourage more interoperability with the data that is on chain to begin with, the better. But the more reasonable you are, especially in the early stages of working a product, the better, I feel like. So we had interesting discussions there, but I'm not sure if you were able to put that on the screen. I shared a file of the Bagel team, the Bagel wallet team, competing hackathon team that Glowburger is a part of. And I love to see their onboarding flow, where they had integrated a new function that I hadn't seen from Phantom before, that you can now also use Phantom to continue with Gmail. You don't have to use TipLink anymore. Phantom seems to provide a wallet connect option where you can create a wallet on the fly just using a Gmail address. And I found that is specifically interesting for early stage projects where you definitely don't want to connect your main wallet and do transactions with sketchy stuff, but maybe still want to test it out with a wallet that you create on the fly just with the Gmail address. That's pretty good to have. I can also share it on my screen, but I shared it on things here. But no, and would love for more people and projects to make use of that, because it provides that much more of an easy enroll for people who even don't have a wallet yet and no concept of what a wallet is, and for them to just be able to sign up with Gmail while still enjoying the benefits of having a wallet that's somewhat self-custodial. That's massive. So yeah, shout out to the team behind the Bagel Wallet.fun project.
Yeah, feel free to share that screen if you can find it.
I shared it in the. You may be able to pull it up from the speakers panel. Much like you would pull up a speaker, but I can also share my screen. Wait a second, just to give everybody a visual. There we go.
We're doing amazing, by the way. This is probably our only 5th episode on StreamYard, and we've come a long way. So I'm really happy about that.
Not sure. Can you see my screen now?
This is a good question. Can we see?
I don't think so yet.
Oh, there he is. Yes. Okay, here we go. I have to add it to the stage, but yes, I will do that, and then we can see it.
And so if you don't have a wallet yet, you can here sign up with Google straight away, and lets you connect a Google account, much like TipLink would do, but directly from Phantom and through this tiny little speech bubble there. So I found that pretty cute. It's not necessarily the end-all be-all solution, but it's a great middle ground step to take. And the less of a platform there's involved in that process through TipLink and stuff, the better. And so I would love for more projects to make use of that functionality, and for more wallets to provide it. That's definitely a good way forward. The more we can onboard people more easily. That's all.
Fantastic. We will have to learn how to do this, because it does not seem to be working from from your. All right, I'm not gonna drag anybody through anymore of me trying to share your screen because it doesn't seem.
Oh, that did not work. Damn. All right, no worries.
Anyway, I've got it. It's right here, and it's not putting it out there unless I have to change the layout. Oof, no, it's not gonna do it. All right. Well, anyway, we will figure out how to do that and get back to it next time, or I'll share it out when we share.
When it comes to public goods, maybe it would be valuable to others and also to myself looking for funding for Legend to point out possible other routes than Island DAO to tap into when it comes to funding projects that are looking to create public goods for the Solana ecosystem in particular. I know you're involved with Island DAO to some degree, but what other options would come to mind there for you?
So yeah, I'm going to speak in Island DAO behalf as well, because I'm a community member there, and I think we are to go far back, 2 years then that we started Island DAO. At least I joined Island DAO, and Island DAO, as a core, started as a feedback giver. So we organized these little teams, and we gave feedback to Solana hackathon winners. And that's how we started. And then back then we were called Dean's List, and now we're called Island DAO. We also made 2 IRL events so far. One in Crete in Greece, which I think that was there. I'm not sure. Yeah, you were there, right?
Yes, loved it.
The second was in Thailand, which was last year in September. And now Island DAO is almost to announce the next location, which will be mid-September, mid-October. Like it's going to be in 1 month. And it's going to be in Greece. Almost 99% is going to be in Greece. So if you guys are in Europe at that time and you're looking to build, feel free to come to this next Island DAO. And as Bloody just asked, if I know any type of grants and stuff, yes, the answer is yes. Island DAO, as you guys might know or not know, is managing Metaplex grant program, where everybody, I think there have been, I might be wrong, but 13 successful grants were given, both in USDC and MPLX, which is now the Metaplex token. So yeah, if you're looking for the grants in the creator side, which Metaplex dabbles on NFTs, marketplaces, Island DAO, you can submit a submission to Island DAO, which is managing the grants program, and the council, which is managing the Island DAO, will definitely review. Another type of grants, which is not aligned more to the creator side, is more aligned to the decentralized side and governance in general, is the Decenter grants, which is also a grants program for people who are willing to build on top of SPL governance, which is what Tech Realms was built on. So if you dabble into governance, DAO in general, go for the Decenter grants program. If you're more aligned to the creators, NFTs, marketplaces, any type of art, Metaplex programs is the way to go. And Island DAO is happy also to announce, was not announced, but I'm announcing anyway here. If you're coming to this next Island DAO in September, October, there most likely going to be an hackathon, a mini hackathon. I think we can offer Metaplex as a prize pool. If I'm not wrong, it's going to be up to 30K in MPLX tokens. And if you're building on top of Metaplex NFTs, tech-wise, come to Island DAO, build during the month you're going to stay in Island DAO, and compete for it as well. So I think that's everything I know so far, and I gave some alpha. I gave some undisclosed alpha as well, so happy to share it.
Thank you.
Glad that we dragged that out of you.
Yeah, absolutely. I would highly encourage anybody that has an idea, can make it there. You will meet so many wonderful people and get so much good advice, and just it's just such a amazing environment. I went to Island DAO 1, Buddy, you're at Island DAO 2. Super place to be. Amazing. So yeah, keep an eye on Island DAO, FKA Dean's List. So I just got so excited I got off track there. Grants. Anybody know of any grants that we should all know about? Any grants that you benefited from? Any grants you have your eye on that you're going to try for that would get your project to the next level?
I just checked the grants today because just reached out to see which where the grant is from Jupyter for local events. So I would encourage creatives to make use of those local event grants from Jupyter. And when I was checking the page, I saw that there's a plethora of new grants out there now, because before, if you go to earn.superteam.fun, then you from Foundation and Superteam grants, you only had basically Germany and one other before, and there's now a whole list of every single Superteam out there, I think. So the national grants seem to have expanded and apply to all the Superteams now, or are handled through Superteam Earn now. May just have been handled differently before, but there's if you are close to a Superteam Germany, you can reach out for a grant from them for up to 10K, but usually should keep those proposals in the range of 5 to make it more likely to be accepted. But definitely the opportunities to tap into. And again, for creators, make those real life creator meetups happen with those local events, event grants, because there may be more people into blockchain or creating and right around you and interested to talk about it than you realize. And the meetups locally are the one way to lure them out and make that happen. And so you can get pizza and beer and have Jupyter pay for it. What's not to like about that? Just apply and make those local meetups happen. That's where the magic is, and where you see how Solana really is all about the community and the friends you make along the way.
Meetups are really where we got started, at least in Berlin, and the people we know through the creative communities, and then it just kept snowballing from there. So yeah, absolutely, getting out IRL, meeting people. We have the fortune of hanging out every Friday, but these grants are out there. Go for it. What do you have to lose? If you've got an idea, if not a great idea, put it down in writing and submit it to earn.superteam.fun, or your local super team if you're listening in another country. Yeah, absolutely. Arikia, any grant avenues that anyone should know about? Anything you have your eyes on? Any next moves in terms of getting your project further into the realm of public good where it can do its best?
Yeah, I mean, right now we're focusing on figuring out where the biggest values alignment is in the ecosystem, because I think what's going to be critical is taking funding and grants from companies that are actually like integral to our build. And if they're not like directly involved in our build in the Web3 space, then they're with journalistic organizations that understand the need for new business models and infrastructure innovation. So it's a very small niche for this company. There are probably only like 1 or 2 handfuls of companies in the world right now that occupy the intersection between blockchain and journalism. So it's a lot of like convincing on both sides, but I am all ears if other people have grant recommendations for me.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm super curious to see what comes out of so Blockchain Week, and I think that's probably my closing question is what's the next thing you have your eye on? Arikia, I do not want to forget that you just did a TED Talk. We all are, which is so cool, and we're all going to keep an eye out for that, and of course share it out whenever it's posted. I don't know if you have a date for that yet, but
any day now.
Any day now, here it comes. Yeah. Super cool, where we can see like the full spectrum of your project shared out on stage. So congrats on that. I hope everybody watches that and like can really experience how important what you're doing is. And then governance, of course, information governance, and tools for creatives to keep on creating and surviving in the world. What do you all have your eyes on in the near future? If it's not, I can't see beyond Blockchain Week at the moment, but anything else we should know about, anything we shouldn't miss, or anything we should sort of have on our radar, hot tips before we head out today?
With public goods and DAO voting being a topic today, it's important to mention that there is a current Metaplex Treasury proposal being voted on. There have
Big one,
been
right?
two proposals that have been declined so far. A third one is in the process of having the vote conclude, I think, within the next 2 days, more or less. So go vote, everybody, because Metaplex protocols are below most everything you do on chain, beneath every token or NFT that you deal with. There's Metaplex involved, most likely below the hood, under the hood, and so how the proposal is about how the reclaimed rent from a proposal change is going to be used, and so it's really could benefit the ecosystem at large or not, and it's very much for us up to us to vote upon this, and it has highlighted very much just how hard on-chain governance is and how much it relies on everyone participating and people rallying around this in a way that makes sense for all participants, best case. So get your vote in, no matter if in favor or not, but do make sure to concern yourself with those questions, because even we as creators can have a say in how the chain develops going forward. And partaking in these governance votes, DAO governance votes, is an important aspect of shaping the future of Solana in the future. So be a part of that and get your vote in.
Yeah, absolutely. Putting your voting with your feet, getting behind something that will change the future or preserve what we want to preserve. Legend, any takes on this? What do you have your eye on?
Yes, the whole statement. So I have nothing to say. I'm joking, but as Bloody said before, the Metaplex is one good governance proposal. We can check it out, which involves around, I think that there's 5 proposals submitted to the Metaplex, how to handle the resized funds, right? And the first 2 failed, as Bloody said. The first was about giving back to the wallets that were taking the resized funds. The second was about giving 2,000 SOL maximum to 13 communities that were planning to use that SOL grants, hackathons, which also failed, but was one of the biggest and most active governance proposal we have seen these months. And now there's a third one, which is about the council to manage the resized funds to use to a validator, meaning the resized funds will be used to put SOL into a validator, and with the earnings of that validator will be decided by the community what do we do. Maybe do grants, maybe do a hackathon, maybe we improve the liquidity pool. So it's a lot of ideas. But at the end of the day, Metaplex, a protocol on-chain with programs, NFT programs and tokens, they're giving the decision-making back to the community. So if you're a Metaplex holder, you have the opportunity to partake in this governance. It's not every day you see this type of decisions. Most governments, most protocols, they just let's do this and go ahead. They don't care about your community voice. So that's why Web3 governance it's a very nice way to include your community voice, your users, your basically everybody's voice. So if you have if you're a user, why not have your voice heard?
Yeah.
So basically that's what I want to say in terms of what Bloody said before. It's like that's a little take as well.
Legend, I have one small question for you, and it's always been kind of lingering with me. Is do you often have to answer the question when DAO? When does a group need to go the DAO route? Like, what's your best advice on that?
So, I mean, first we kind of need to ask: do we really need the DAO? Like myself, I'm really biased, so you really cannot ask me. I will always say yes. But what I can say is, if you really in a Web3 space you want to start a community, then yes, I will say always you need a DAO. And the DAO has the D word, which means decentralized. And I will always say, okay, you want to start, and it's fine if you start in a centralized way where you have the power and in the council, of course. but the whole purpose is for your community to be decentralized as much as possible. So everything you do on chain, it's verifiable. Everybody can check. It's permissionless. It's composable if you try to integrate with other protocols, and you have time. That's the most important. If you decentralize it bit by bit, at some point everybody, you can leave. You can, let's say, something happen and somebody can come over and take your place. That's the whole point of a DAO is to be as much decentralized as possible, be autonomous, meaning people don't need to rely on you. You can use a smart contract to, depending of what type of project you like. Let's say you're an NFT marketplace or a creator marketplace. Let's say Bloody left project, and what a DAO could do is elect a new director, a new CEO to lead the project, and that's what giving back power to the community it really is, and decentralize as much as possible. Is that everybody has their own voice, their own opinion, and if they can elect through the current infrastructure that exists, then it's possible. And, as I said before, everybody has their DAO opinion. What DAO means to me, it can be different for you. Like for you, it could be a community. For me, it's a DAO. Everybody has their opinion, and I think that's mostly it. I can go further and further, but I'll just maybe be controversial at some point.
Sounds good to me. Just even having like a bit of a clue about that, because it's always been kind of a lingering question. We're a few minutes over time, everybody. I welcome any last concluding statements. I also thank you so much again for your time and the passion and energy that you put into your projects and that we've seen develop over time, regardless of how much time that is. It's been wonderful watching everything come together and be shared out with our community, and I certainly hope that it goes beyond and becomes integrated into the general public good, because obviously this sort of technology needs everybody working on it from every angle, I think. But yeah, please feel free if anybody would like to raise their hand with anything we should know about, any final statements or anything we must know before we close. I welcome your statements.
Very much agree. Arikia, go first.
Arikia, you got to raise hands. She beat you to it.
Just hoping to see everyone at the Decentralized Media Summit at Berlin Blockchain Week. It's going to be June 13th and 14th, a two-part event, with the first one at Publix, the Journalism Hub in Berlin, and the second day at the W3 Hub, which everyone should know by now. And if you don't, then come and check it out. 10 to 3, Saturday the 14th. Paul's going to be there.
Yeah, I'll be there. Amazing. Excellent. Okay. We'll see you there. And yes, I would love to meet anybody who shows up in person. Bloody, you have a hot tip or something.
No, same day, June 13th. Unfortunately, we have demo day at W3 Hub. So the breakout demo day, all the projects that have submitted from Germany will be presenting or will have an opportunity to present on stage and compete for local prize tracks on June 13th in Berlin, smack middle of the Berlin Blockchain Week, smack middle of the Solana Startup Village. This is just happening from June 12th to June 17th, if I'm not mistaken. And so keep an eye out for that. But especially if you want to mark down one day, then make it June 13th at W3 Hub, competing with Arikia's event. But I think there might be an overlapped window where you can partake in both. But that will be mad exciting to see all the projects that have been grinding from at Build Station and beyond, to see them present on a stage where they are at now. Very excited to see all the legends again, and will be a good day. And Berlin Blockchain Week at large, everybody should come out and see it. Starts in 2 days on Friday formally, but then next week will be wild. My calendar is having overlapping events left, right, and center, so that's hard to avoid as Berlin Blockchain Week. But if you can make it, just encouraging everybody to drop by for the plethora of events there. And just circling back to what Legend just said real quick, it may not make things easier. It applies to going the public good routes as much as for DAOs in general, setting that up. But if you build something bigger than yourself, it may make your product all the more stronger for it. and less ruggable. And in part, that's why we're all here. So it might be worth taking a couple paints to get there. Yeah, but that was great talking to you. Happy to be part of this.
Thanks for the insights, everyone. And yeah, hopefully see you at Demo Day. It's a whirlwind, but we'll all be in the same building anyway, so we will find ways to connect. And yeah, I assume we will have another Creators Guild in the near future. I never tried to compete with the Global Hackathon, so we didn't have one last as we would have last time. But yeah, always happy to hear from projects. Please, everyone, keep an eye on these projects and keep an eye on each other, which I'm sure we all will. Thank you so much, and thank you for sharing your insights. Great stuff, and I love hearing from you all. So, thank you for sharing out Creators Guild version edition 20 projects for public good, and we will revisit this theme sometime in the future, as we will revisit all of our themes. But until then, cheers. Yeah. See everybody around. Ciao,
Thanks,
ciao.
Paul. Bye.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Talk soon. Bye.
No problem. All right. I'm going to slowly go down. Thank you, Legend.
No worries. Thank you for inviting me. I hope I was a little bit understandable.
Wonderful.
It's not that easy to understand. And, I actually talking